Great, seeing 6 o'clock, I'm gonna call to order the village board of trustees for Monday, August 18th, 2025. Pledge of allegiance. Flag is out. There. Oh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Paul.
Yes, President Service,
Present.
trustees Bainan.
Here.
Longar. Here. Eichelkraut.
Here.
Casmar.
Here.
Ward. President Ziegler.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Was the meeting posted?
Meeting was posted as required by law.
Public participation. So if you would like to speak on an agenda or non-agenda item, please state your name and address, and you have about 3 minutes.
Ashley the first tonight.
Okay,
Want me to stand since there's no one? Can I sit?
you can sit. That's
Ashley, 214 North Park Street here in Belleville. As we talk about new developments, including duplexes, multi-family townhomes, and apartments, I'd like to talk about low-income housing. I'm hearing a lot of in the future comments from residents that can go very deep, making it sound as if it's not a single-family home, it won't be taken care of. Some of these comments go as far as if the building sells in the future, Section 8 comes to town and basically all hell will break loose from crimes and slums. When you hear the word Section 8, what do you think? What image do you get? Take a moment and think of what comes to mind. A lot of times, young lady, many kids, crash, clutter, crime, that kind of stuff. That's not always the case. By saying Section 8, we tend to look down upon it, look down on the people that live there as if it's a bad place to be. We're all human and need stepping stones in life. It can be a disabled person, a person that fell on hard times, a family that cannot get back on their feet, or a senior whose social security check just can't cut it. We need to remember that low-income housing is needed all over. Low-income housing for any adult, no matter what age, that cannot afford market rate rent and has income restrictions. Today, a one-bedroom apartment runs $1,200 plus. Keep in mind, the federal limit is 30% of someone's income. Low-income housing, for those who are wondering, do yearly leases where tenants' finances are checked and confirmed by a third party with a fine-tooth comb to ensure legality. Tenants pay 30% of their income, and the rest is state funded. It is up to state and local governments to make ordinances to ensure the apartment company follows through with their end of the bargain. A nice, clean, safe, well-kept environment for their tenants. It is also part of the complex to ensure the tenants follow through with the legality of their leases, such as trash, crime, etc. Just because the tenants are low income does not mean they deserve any less. A low-income tenant is also less inclined to bring up issues with building, apartment, or land. They usually feel that they are already getting government help and they should not speak up to make an issue. If someone does speak up, timing on those items getting fixed can be anytime management can get to it, sometimes even years. Yes, years of mold, broken showers, things of that sort. This is why we need to ensure rules, fines, and ordinances. You know, we have at least 2 low-income housing developments currently in town. I've also lived next to Section 8 for many years in the past, and I am actually a product of one here in town. My family would not have flourished as it is today without the townhomes that we started with low-income housing. Thank you.
Connie.
I just have a couple of things I'd like to ask. Who's the weed commissioner?
We don't have one at the moment.
Thought we named somebody.
We're-
Main Street's looking pretty shabby up there.
on a job. There's some more than Main
I'm not
Street.
afraid to go tell him to clean it up. You might get sued. The front door of the village hall, is that gonna get fixed, the handicap door? Doesn't work.
The button on it. No, we don't have plans at the moment to fix it. It hasn't worked since before I started working here.
That's what I'm bringing it up. It's been an awful long time since that door is. If we've got all this money we're spending all over the place, I think the village door should work. Thank you.
That's all I have for tonight. Or at the moment.
Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests it, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered the first item after the approval of the consent agenda. Got quite a few items on here tonight. The minutes from August 4th, Cold Drive Development Agreement Amendment, partnership in the Dane County Urban County Consortium, Resolution 2025-18, School District Crossing Guards, special events for Fall Fest, Homecoming Parade, UFO Parade, and the Cookie Walk.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
Motion by Shelley, second by Maxine. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. All right, presentations. Annual consultant review from MSA.
Yeah, so we do two of these. We do this once a year for all of our consultants. Staff works with all of them very regularly, but since they technically work through the board through me, you guys should get to know them a little bit. You see Brian and for financial matters, and you see Kevin when we have engineering projects, but you're generally here for a purpose. Tonight's purpose in this section is just what are the services that they provide the village? And if you have any questions going on like that, or kind of just allow that conversation where a normal meeting may not allow for it. So, yeah. Kevin, were you able to sign into the teams?
I think so.
Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm not gonna go through everything, bit by bit on here or whatever, but, Kevin Lord with MSA. I've been in MSA about 22 years, I believe now. MSA has been the engineering consultant for the village prior to me. I've been here since about 2008-ish, I believe, and stuff. So I've seen many of you around, obviously, at previous meetings and everything. So this will just be kind of a general, idea of basically some of the services basically we provide, kind of related to some of the projects that are going on as well. So to start it off, like I said, I'm Kevin Lord. Introduce Jody Young. He's our regional manager for the Madison area.
Like I said, I appreciate the opportunity of being here and just to talk a little bit about MSA, and honestly, the relationship that we've had with you is something we don't take for granted. It's been a long relationship. It's worked very well. And like I said, a lot of changes occurred over these years. I do remember when Kevin was hired, like I said, 22 years working together. I've been with MSA for 26 years. And so we are two long-term employees for MSA, but that's not one of the things that I think separates us from what we have provided to you. So you think about our size, where we're at, we are the largest company now in Wisconsin when it comes to engineers and providing service. Our funding is something that does separate us. And like I said, we have a lot of experience at different disciplines. And so when you see it, and you start thinking about what we're providing to you and stuff, wrong arrow. A lot of it has to do with the people we surround ourselves. Now, Kevin is the one that you see a lot. He's your resource. He's the guy that comes to, and to be honest, he's really good at what he does and taking care of his communities. But what you get out of it is the people with the expertise that comes up. I think Brad Jasinski is a guy that's been here quite often. I know that Emma is one that's working on your parks right now, who's on our list, but there's more than that behind it. There's a team with every discipline that comes up. I know with your wastewater, things like that, that over the years, that's one of the strengths that we have. And one of Kevin's biggest responsibilities is actually to put the right people in place to help you. And so over the years since 2008, Kevin's kind of filled that role for you. And so it's one of the benefits I'm going to at least bring up, but I think it's one of the things that hopefully tells you that if you have problems or concerns that come up between Kevin and myself, we're available to you. So it has been a nice long relationship. It's definitely the engineering services that we provide when it comes to things that come up in your community. We're an easy resource for you to call and ask those questions. But I think after this, like you have a couple projects and stuff that are ongoing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so again, we're both available. I'm available as well for any phone calls and stuff. I know, you're able to get a hold of me as you want, but we do have resources here that know how to get a hold of me. But if you have any concern, or anything like that, please reach out. Great, all right. Go ahead, Kevin.
And this is, like Joe's mentioned, many of the staff on here, people you guys, I should say, everyone here has seen, but they've been at meetings when we're working here for different projects at different times that we're working with. Our general services, a lot of the stuff we've done is mainly the engineering design and document prep. We do the environmental studies. This is kind of just a high arching type of things. Not gonna go through each one. One of the big ones we do is construction management. So we're out on site, making sure when contractors are out there that they're putting in the projects per plan and the village specs. Working with Gabe and Drew and Ian on the capital improvement planning. And then a lot of private development reviews. So any of the sites or subdivisions that come in, we're reviewing the engineering plans prior to make sure it meets stormwater village ordinances. And then just mainly general engineering consulting services. So Drew or anybody has questions, I'm trying to be a resource, getting answers, using the staff that we have. So more in depth on the engineering part of things, it's a lot of the street and utility design reconstructions. So similar to the 4th Street project that's going on right now. Started as a mill and overlay, added water main to it, trying to get those out to bid, getting it done in a timely fashion to get the grant money that you guys have as well. So I mentioned capital improvement funding, park and rec services. We kind of talked about that with the stuff that Emma's doing. There's a couple things on the agenda tonight on those as well. Those the west side parks out there. Marina and waterfront, don't know if you'll have a need for that down the road, but we definitely do that kind of stuff. Obviously bridge design and construction. Construction engineering, as I mentioned, is a big one. Basically working with contractors, going through the project, making sure if they got any questions, like I said, making sure everything's built for village standards. We provide something. Record drawings. So basically we mark up plans that, as things are built in the field, not everything gets built exactly per plan. So marking those changes so the village has a good set of records to go back to, afterwards, as well. And then, doing some materials testing and quality control as well. Utility design. This would basically cover the water system study that was recently done. That's going to be, I think, brought to the board was kind of the plan of Public Works after it goes to Public Works. So you guys will, hear that as well. We're looking at doing a facility plan study for the treatment plant next year, as well. Utilizing Dave Magnuson to help you guys, at the treatment plant right now as a certified operator, until your staff gets, the certificates needed and stuff. So, doing all those type of things. We've done well designs and we're doing the north side sewer interceptor, working on that as we speak as well. Traffic study, planning, design and review, basically along the DOT and county highways is what this kind of relates to, basically following DOT standards. So similar to what we're doing right now on 69 and the Tyler Street intersection. The developer didn't want to deal with the DOT as there's a lot of different regulations that DOT uses and it has to follow and stuff. So basically we let our transportation mobility group deal with a lot of that type of stuff and guide us in the right direction as to what permits are needed and how the plans need to look and everything that way. I guess the other big one on this too, just is assisting with the TAP grant. The village did a majority of that back in the day with the planning grant. We just kind of reviewed it. And then through the different administrators, I just kind of helped facilitate things. And then we hired KL Engineering to do the study. Now we're looking at applying for the TAP grant again for the construction of one of the items on there as well. So that's a big item for the funding for things on there as well. Surveying and GIS. Obviously we help assist with the GIS software you guys have for the utilities and zoning and different things that are there. Gabe's had interaction with Scott Kiley on that for some computer upgrades for the software. And then a lot of the surveying basically kind of asks, basically basically goes with a lot of the design projects that we're doing. But we've also included, like, we've done some Alta surveys as well for the far west side, for the lots that their village is looking to purchase out there as well. So construction staking for many of the projects. Architectural engineering, we've done a couple projects here that I've been a part of, the shelter, restroom at the community park and the well house for well number 3 on the west side, or 2 of them that I'm aware of. Obviously, we've done plenty of other projects, throughout MSA as well. So just some items we've done there. Planning and urban design. So that's more the comp planning. Just looking at how the village grows, park and rec plan, we've completed that for the village and updated that. So you're available for, grant funding when things come up that way. And basically looking ahead at economic development, any items with that as well.
Thank you. Sorry.
I hate this thing.
And I think the last one I have in here is environmental services. So we get involved with a lot of the phase 1, phase 2 services. So we did that for the far west side for those lots as well. It's basically just making sure if there's any mediation that needs to be done before someone buys the property or different things like that. So it's going through the properties that way, testing for asbestos, lead, that type of stuff. So those are basically the general services we offer. So if anybody has any questions, there's obviously more detail and more specifics. I didn't read through every item that's on there. Those are just some of the ones that kind of relate to a lot of the majority ones that we've helped the village with recently.
Great. Thank you, Kevin and Joe. Appreciate it. Good recap of what your services are to the village. Now we've got consultant review from Ehlers.
Sure. I got paper copies. And it's the last one, because we got a few other agenda items here, so you unclip it and go to the last paper bracket. I think I should read this or read this. All right, so good to be in front of all of you. Brian Raymer, Senior Municipal Advisor with Ehlers. What we are is a registered municipal advisory firm. Basically, since 2009, the Dodd-Frank Act, you had to become registered in order to provide financial advice. Before then, it didn't really matter. That said, now we've just kind of converted from a financial advisory firm to municipal advisory firm, as with that designation, it was required. So what that means, 2 things. One, we're regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission under the rules that the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board puts forth. And 2, we are a fiduciary into the village. So we have to act in the best interest of the village in terms of providing recommendations financially to all of you. So with that, I'll kind of get started. Similar to MSA's presentation, the first couple are just a little bit of facts about us, just so you kind of know. But we have, 80+ advisors and analysts. And again, it's a bigger team than just myself. Usually you just see me, but of course we have a lot of people helping the village, main point of contact, and then just kind of general body that shows up to meetings is my role. But certainly we have a whole team helping the village of Belleville. We are 100% employee owned, and then we're fully staffed out of Waukesha and Roseville, Minnesota. And then the next slide that reads our approach, it's how we work. Just a little bit in terms of the services we provide. I'm going to kind of go through some of these like MSA did, and just kind of say what services the village uses on the next couple of slides. But if you're kind of curious of all of the work that we do, that's on this slide. So on the next slide that says services provided, annual financial management plan. So this is intended to kind of augment your budgeting process. through a review of your operating capital needs, for levy supported funds and the enterprise funds, so your utilities. We also do debt issuance advising, so anytime you guys are looking to go out to the market or even do kind of a local bank loan, we usually will have touch points with staff, whether or not we get involved to a level of engagement. It's another question, right? They might just say, hey, is this a good rate? We kind of talk about rates in general. And then, you know, you guys may execute a loan that we're really not advising on outside of just kind of saying, hey, this looks like a decent rate. Debt management advising, different than debt issuance, right? Debt issuance is getting you financing. Management is kind of owning the financing and saying, how do you manage this once it's issued? So that includes arbitrage, continuing disclosure, and paying agent. So what those are essentially arbitrage, you can't earn more than the interest rate that you're paying. So we do have arbitrage specialists kind of managing that. They'll reach out and ask questions if needed. Continuing disclosure, when you go out to the market, you're required to disclose certain financial information due to, you know, a bunch of fun rules that the Securities and Exchange Commission provides, but we have dissemination agents that do that on your behalf. And then paying agent is someone to make sure that there's timely debt payments, and we provide that service to you as well so that you do not go into default on your loans. Investments, primarily there is, I believe we only are really involved in the investment of the bereavement funds, but we certainly, you know, provide investment advising. That is actually a different certification that I have, so you'll contact a different team member of ours. Typically, it's been Tammy from our office, but if you ever have, you know, hey, what options do we have for operating funds or, you know, managing our debt proceeds? Those are questions our investment advisors can certainly answer. And then economic development, we do your annual TID reporting. We did your TID 3 amendment last year and extension, and then we also do pro forma work. So that still kind of, for those that haven't been involved with that, you know, previously that was like the Cold Drive development, helping you through the financial aspects of that development agreement. And then, you know, more recently, we'll be talking about one during closed session. On the next page is services used in the past. So this isn't kind of like, these are currently inactive, more or less. Utility rate studies. So while we do an annual 10-year cash flow, at the time that you do need to adjust rates, we have in the past provided a study to identify, well, a simple percentage may not be the most equitable approach to adjusting your rates, or you need to go to the Very Fund Public Service Commission, and we help you through that very fun process. So 2019 helped with the water rate study, and in 2023 helped with the sewer rate study as part of your water quality trading project. And then other economic development, we've helped with kind of TID creation as well, just haven't done that in the last year, so I want to mention that. Then on the next page, I already kind of touched on this in terms of services inactive, but investments, right? If you have any questions on, you know, debt proceeds, we're going to talk about a debt issuance upcoming, but we can get into more detail on the investment side as needed. So then the last page is really the advisory team. So that's just a lovely picture of myself and Kayla, the other advisor, who you may see from time to time, should I be too busy for Belleville. But as Gary says, I should just get an apartment here and then I can always be available. So anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions for you all.
Thank you, Brian. President's report, we don't have anything for tonight. Staff reports, clerk's report.
It's all in there, so feel free to read it. But just a reminder, election, the primary election is happening tomorrow. Will be open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for voting. Results will be posted as soon as certified this evening on our webpage, on Facebook, and on the window.
I don't even think.
Yeah, we actually need to bring up Fourth Street a little bit and rather than give you the dumbed down version, let Kevin talk and tell you exactly what we got going on with Fourth Street.
With the 431?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fourth Street, we had, the original project was planned for just a mill and overlay. And then we added the water main to it last year, or early this year, I guess, to get it out. During construction, the paving contractor was concerned about the existing pavement. So he brought it to our attention. Drew and I met out there with, well, actually with Tom, and then we met the contractor out there as well. And we looked at a few spots and the existing pavement, obviously that we're not where the water main is, that was obviously ripped up for the water main. The rest of the pavement, from what we saw, there was decent amounts of pavement left. There's definitely gonna be some areas that we were gonna have to remove, and everything. So he gave us a proposition that would, that they would feel better about, and in my opinion, I think it's better, and it's probably about an extra $15,000. But basically they would, instead of milling the portion that's remaining outside of where the water main trench was, they would just pulverize the entire road. So basically that would grind up the existing asphalt with the existing base. Then they would shape it, crown it at the center, and they would put on a full lift of a 3¼ inch lift of asphalt through the whole roadway, which is basically the village standards for streets. In my calculations, doing some quick math, basically what it does is the milling or the pulverizing would basically replace the milling. It would basically be a wash in cost. The only extra would be for the additional asphalt. Not all the asphalt, because the original, we were gonna have 2 lifts of asphalt where the water main trench was, and then just put a top layer on where the existing was. The price on that, because it was patchwork, was quite a bit higher. So in doing the 3¼ inch, they will, they'll give us the original lower price, so it pays for some of the asphalt to do the full depth all the way through. Doesn't pay for all, so that's where the existing or the extra kind of comes in. I guess in looking at it, I feel like that's probably a better roadway at the end of the day. This problem would have came up even if this would have been a mill and overlay, if they would have just milled and ended up not being pavement there. We could have taken core samples, but based on what we saw out there, you could have taken cores and you could have hit spots that would have had 2 to 3 inches of asphalt that we've seen, and it still would have been shallow in a different spot or something like that. So this could have came up either way, but I feel based on like where they've cut in for the mains and everything like that, I feel like this idea of theirs is a valid idea anyway.
It's my understanding that the original plan could still be executed, but it would end up being thinner and not last as long potentially,
Their
or
concern with it is that obviously when they go over it, they think there's spots there, quite a bit of spots that don't have a lot of asphalt. So if they go to mill, and you've got trucks riding on it behind to catch all the millings, that you're gonna end up busting it up and then end up pulverizing anyway. And then you spend the money milling and then end up pulverizing at the end of the day is what their concerns are.
just not as much material there as we thought there was.
And that's only in a few spots, right?
It's hard to tell, I guess,
Very hard
exactly.
to tell.
Like I said, when we went out there, we saw some spots that had decent amounts. From what you can tell, whether that's just where they cut things or what,
But they are planning on, their schedule was for them to be milling on Wednesday, correct?
So I was gonna text them after this meeting, basically, or during the meeting, if everybody's kind of on board, and Drew wanted to bring it up since we were having a board meeting tonight, but
It's all very fast paced. I mean, it's just. If I'd had more time to bring this up in a more formal setting with an agenda item, I would have, but this is this afternoon.
And I guess the other part to it is we originally had an end date for them of the end of August. They're not sure they can get their pulverizer there until after Labor Day. So we would set a new end date for them of I'll have to work on it by like September 12th. But it needs to be done. They have to submit payment and the village has to pay them, so we can submit it by September 30th online to get the reimbursement funds. Yep. Which can still all be done. And he said that they would try it. You know, if they can get it quicker, they will. It kind of depends on some of these other smaller projects. He was telling me on the phone today, so. But he understands that we have to get this submitted. That's the kind of urgency of it, I guess, if you want to call it that.
So it's about $15,000 more to basically do it right.
Correct.
And I think they do it right rather than
Yeah.
Yeah.
a couple of years from now, go back and tear it all up and do it again. So,
Do we have that money somewhere?
yeah, it's.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a big bill. I guess go over 15 grand. Ian is salary and everything else. Like, you're gonna give it to you anyway.
Wasn't that about it?
Yeah.
Good. My opinions do it right.
Yeah.
So,
I agree, yeah.
It's enough direction.
all right.
Thanks, guys.
Other staff reports? Nope. All right. Yeah.
Where's our September 2nd meeting at?
I think it's still to be determined because I don't know where,
Village Hall.
yeah, I think the 130 South Vine isn't gonna be ready yet.
Okay.
But they did take the walls down. So,
There was a dumpster there today, I saw.
Yep, the last wall went down today. And it's mostly primed, but there's a lot of work left to do.
And item 10, old business, discuss, consider the emergency medical services intergovernmental agreement.
All right, based on my tell of all the other towns, you are the last one to approve it. Everybody else has approved it as it is. This has taken quite a while to get us to this point. The reason why there's two intergovernmental agreements is technically EMS and fire now on one intergovernmental agreement. They will be separated into two intergovernmental agreements. That is a request of the staff and the towns, and it really doesn't make much of a difference on our end. We'll deal with it as it comes. They've agreed to the CPI plus 2%. So after this, after you guys sign it, the towns and you will have to do a resolution for the CPI plus 2%. But the departments will go through all the title work and all that kind of stuff, but, yeah. Taking a while, but we're here.
Hope we approve the EMS agreement.
Second.
Peter, second by Shelley. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I'm abstaining.
that's from 6 to 0 to 1.
And you can guess it. The next one, literally replaces emergency medical service with fire protection service.
Yep.
It's the exact same agreement, just different service.
Move we approve the fire agreement.
Second.
Gary and Maxine. Guess it depends on who sits next to me. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, discuss, consider fiscal year 25 and TID debt presentation and engagement letters.
So this is Brian. If you wanna just kind of kick it off and
Sure. Do you want me to go through the pre-sale now or just talk about those engagement letters?
do the pre-sales too.
I read pretty much everything you sent. These are the most boring documents you've ever sent.
I can do worse.
That's bedtime reading.
Yeah. You can't
Do
do it.
everything for the two.
Sure, for all of
Just
them.
all of it
Yeah,
now.
okay. So in the other two items that I handed out, that's what we'll go to next. The agenda items in order are the engagement letters to kind of have Ellers be the financial advisor as part of the debt issuances. And then Quarles and Brady to be disclosure counsel. I'll explain that in a second. And then Tom Gregg's law firm to be bond counsel. So again, I'll explain those as we go through these packet materials, but just So you know, that's kind of the first is kind of accepting us to help serve you on the debt issues, and then the next two are green lighting the process to go to market for these two debt issues. So I'll explain all of that, and the first one I'll start with is the one that says Series 2025A on it.
Okay.
So if you open to the first page, this is the proposed 3.595 million general obligation promissory notes. The reason you have two separate issues. One of them is tax exempt. That's the one we're going to talk about first. The second one is taxable because the purpose of it in terms of purchasing land is not a tax exempt purchase. So you cannot issue two issues, one being tax exempt and one being taxable. So, or one issue, excuse me, with those dual purposes. So starting with this, kind of the purposes of the 2025A, the 3.595 million is 2025 capital improvement projects. Your current refunding of the 2024A note anticipation notes. So if you remember, in order to kind of beat the TID expenditure period and the village not being exactly ready in terms of executing on which projects within the TID 3 amendment, we issued kind of a note anticipation note that you would not pay, you know, a cent for. Essentially, it was kind of a gap financing. Now we're going to refund that. The only draw that you made on that were the cost of issuance draws for that. So, you know, the amount outstanding is $50,000 and a cent, and then plus interest that's accrued. So you'll be refunding that note to get away, you know, from that, you know, one payment, and then a current refunding of your 2024 B bank note. So what that was is that was issued for your capital improvement projects at that time. It was issued with a local bank at an interest rate of 6 3/4. We can now go out to market and get a better interest rate. So along with funding new money projects that you will be executing or recently executed, we want to refund debt to try to save you money. So we'll talk about how much money as well, but all is to say, kind of a lot going on there in terms of the purposes of the debt, and then the debt service payment, debt service will be paid from levy and TID 3 revenues. And then table 3 and the other tables, which I'll walk through, kind of go through all of that. The authority is basically the statute that you're following in order to allow you to issue the debt under Wisconsin state statutes there. So 67-12-12. Gary, if you want more boring information, that's the place to go. But that said, you are limited in terms of how much general obligation debt you can have outstanding in the state of Wisconsin. You can issue two types of debt. In terms of your pledge, general obligation and revenue debt. Revenue debt, you're securing with a source of revenues. General obligation debt, you're securing with your irrevocable tax authority. What that means is you can levy a tax for debt service payments in the state of Wisconsin. You're just pledging our ability to do so. So that's what general obligation debt means. And you're limited to how much of that you can have outstanding. So with this issue, you'll be at about 50% of the borrowing capacity. And then you'll have a remaining capacity of about $11.8 million. And that's kind of with both issues all in one. We just kind of have to segregate the issues in terms of a little presentation here. But just note that does include both issues 2025A and 2025B. The term here is these are being issued for 12 years. The principal will be due April 1st, 2026 through 2037. And then the interest will be every 6 months, same start date, April 1st, 2026. And then you will be subject to prepayment anytime April 1st, 2031 or thereafter. What that means is in order when you go out to the market, what we're trying to do is get the most attractive financing package for the lowest interest rates. The current underwriter conditions are they like a non-call period, right? So a non-prepayment period. So we did for the first kind of 5 maturities, there's that no call period. And then after that point, you could prepay it, you know, in part or in full. That is to say as well, if we were to somehow get back into the COVID low valley of interest rates, you could do a taxable, advance refunding, which is even more complicated. That said, you know, we probably are gonna see this be the, you know, regular quote unquote bond market, from this point forward. So I would say that's unlikely, but we always get asked, can we prepay this? In theory, you can. You couldn't make like a cash prepayment, but you could do a taxable advance. In that effort, we always monitor the market on a quarterly basis. And then we email staff if there's opportunities for that. So just note the no call period for an attractive underwriting situation would be the first 5 maturities through 2031. Bank qualification, that's essentially as long as you don't issue more than $10 million within the year, within a calendar year, you can kind of broaden the net in terms of who can bid on it. And so you are under this bank qualification threshold with the 2 issues combined. So that's just, I'll say, good news there. On the next page, rating. We are recommending to sell this non-rated because you'd have to pay a rating agency, number one, to say what the creditworthiness would be. And then we believe that the rating, you know, wouldn't be of a high enough level to outpace the, you know, upfront cost of that rating. The other reason is generally, we are seeing a lot of these deals get bond insurance, which the underwriter pays for. So it's basically like a credit enhancement that they ask a bond insurance company to insure the bonds or notes in this case. And it comes with that extra credit enhancement anyway. So that all said, I don't think it's worth the village paying for a rating now. As we've continued our financial management plan discussions, and we've definitely been getting the credit factors higher and higher, this is something we could reconsider in future years. Because one, you know, having only 50% of your general obligation debt capacity outstanding is a good place to be. Your recent financial performance is a good place to be. But, you know, in the future, if we kind of see the metrics continue to improve, which would be our hope in annually doing that financial management plan, we could change our tune there. But that said, the other consideration would be if you're getting bond insurance anyway, I do the double pay there. So, and then in terms of our recommendation, when we reviewed, you know, kind of the whole financing needs for both of these issues and where the village sits, we do feel that going out to the open securities market would be the most advantageous form of financing, right? You can always go to the local bank. Generally there, you're kind of limited to 10 years, and then they'll kind of have you do a balloon payment to, you know, change your interest rate there and then go up to 20. So that we're going to 12 years. Looking there, we haven't seen banks beat the, you know, open securities market. State trust fund loan is always an option. Those, however, beyond 10 years, right now, like you're looking for, would be at 6.5%. Feel you can do better than that out in the open market. So again, we're recommending the issuance of notes out in the open securities market in terms of our recommendation. That kind of handles the method of sale as well there. So what we're doing is on sale day, which I'll talk through in a second, we solicit competitive bids from underwriters across the country. So we post it on the platform that municipal issuers will post it, put it in the bond buyer as well. And then on that day, kind of like a public improvement project, the underwriters bid on it and you award based off of the lowest true interest cost, or what's called a TIC there. So part of the resolution in terms of green lighting this process, you'll see the wording in there that on sale day we'll award to the lowest TIC. That's basically to say, you'll tell your constituents, we solicited the best bids we could on this day, and we're awarding it to the lowest cost of financing. So premium pricing, this one's a little hard to explain without it actually happening, but it is something that we will likely see happen. What a lot of bidders are doing nowadays is they'll pay you upfront for higher coupons, and that means like a higher interest rate, but they pay you for the difference to the bond yield. So what communities will see is, they'll get an extra $100,000 on the day of sale to pay, a quarter or 0.5% more. And the underwriter is paying you upfront for that. So you can downsize the issue. You can also deposit some of that to your debt service fund, so that you can kind of have lower debt service payments for the first 3 years. So that said, in order to keep this as broad as possible, we are going to operate with a premium option, meaning they can bid above the par value. Again, that'll be much easier to explain on sale day when we would potentially have real numbers if that were the case. On the next page, we are offering it as well with term bonds, but term notes here, wherein they can combine maturities and kind of sell that on the secondary market as a termed maturity. You would still have the same principal payment. They're just kind of selling it as a combined payment to the bond investors. So that said, offering this option again broadens the horizon in terms of who's interested in it and who's bidding on it. So again, lower financing costs. So the goal here is consistent. We want kind of the widest net in terms of who would bid on it, and then the attractiveness of it as well. In terms of the existing debt, we did note beyond the 2024 bank notes, there were no other refunding opportunities. Continuing disclosure, that's something that I mentioned in our services presentation. So for your open market securities, we help disclose financial information into the bond market every year. You are going to be continuing to have a similar undertaking. You're not rising to the next level because these aren't that high enough, but since you have a total outstanding indebtedness greater than 10 million, we'll be making sure that we are making all those disclosures on your behalf. And then arbitrage monitoring is a part of our issuance costs. We do have our arbitrage consultants do kind of an annual review. They will call staff to ask questions in terms of where you're investing it. One thing I'll just mention here, a lot of what you're investing for will be money out the door right away. So if you think about paying off the NAN, paying off the bank notes, that's going to be money out the door right away in terms of some of the capital improvement projects. Same goes there. But in terms of, the capital improvement projects that haven't happened yet, one thing we just kind of say is generally look for fixed income securities there in terms of your investments. LGIP can be a good source. However, note that is not a fixed interest rate, but it is kind of quick access of funds. If you guys have, more questions on that, certainly have an investment advisor talk with staff and provide an option to the board free of cost there to just kind of go through what some investment options might be. Beyond that, the other service providers on the next page at the bottom of, so I'm on the bottom of page 4. Bond counsel is Greg's law office. So what they are doing is providing the opinion of the legality in order to issue the debt. And they're providing the agenda language, compliance with open meetings laws, your resolutions like the one you have to authorize it. Disclosure counsel, what that is in order to go to the open securities market, you provide an official statement, which is the marketing document that you are offering to underwriters in order to say, here's what the Village of Belleville looks like. Here's the financing package that we're offering. A lot of that is getting scrutiny from the Securities Exchange Commission, right? We don't want to commit fraud when we're trying to sell ourselves to bond investors. So disclosure counsel, the way I think of it, is basically a law firm that provides an extra level of insurance on that official statement. So they're doing their due diligence, reviewing that. They'll ask staff a bunch of fun questions during what we call a due diligence call, where they're reviewing that document. They're doing their own investigation on the back end, and then they'll be reviewing items with staff. We typically attend that call as well, just to make sure that we are apprised of all the information in terms of the offering. But that said, ultimately, while we help prepare that document, it is the village's document, so you want that to be buttoned up. In addition to that, you don't go out to the securities market that often, so we highly recommend that for irregular issuers or, kind of non-annual issuers, certainly. So Quarles and Brady will do that. Greg's, does not offer that service. Otherwise, we'll probably just have the same legal team do that, but, Greg's, has worked with Quarles in the past and said that that would be a good opportunity for the village. Paying agent isn't changing, that's Bond Trust Services. That's actually an Ellers, subsidiary. And then the rating agency, as I mentioned, not being rated, so. Next page in terms of the schedule. So this is the pre-sale review by y'all, and that's August 18th, today. The next steps are that due diligence call and going through the official statement with staff. And then that official statement, that marketing document, we would send out to the market September 29th. And then the sale day is going to be October 6th. And then that would be, hey, we get sales results in the morning. We put the numbers together, provide that to staff, and then present that to the board that night for approval. And that's for both issues. And then the closing date would be about 2 to 3 weeks later, October 23rd. So that's when you receive the funds. Make sure the phones are working that day, because you're going to get some pretty chunky bond wires coming to the bank accounts. And then the redemption date, we would plan that you would pay those other obligations off that same day. So if you need to call the bank to, make sure they're aware it's going to be paid off, you would need to make sure you do that. You can certainly, have staff communicate with us as well, and we can help with that process. And then with that, I'll kind of go through the tables. The only thing I'm going to mention is I'm not going to jump into the B because the tables are the same for both. The B issue only difference is you're doing the taxable portions. So one, the land purchase is on that. There was a anticipation note for a taxable purpose, but you didn't end up drawing on that similarly. And then there's a taxable portion of your 2024 banknotes because essentially you expended those capital improvements before 60 days of issuing those banknotes. So Greg's law firm kind of determined those should have been tax exempt banknotes. So we're just kind of correcting that. So those are included there. Still believe you can get lower interest rates out in the open market on a taxable basis. So that's the only difference in the first couple of pages, but the tables are going to be the same. So with that, let's go to the tables. Table 1, if you're curious as to the capital projects being funded, those are listed on table 1. And again, this is only for what you're issuing, what you're looking to go out to market with and secure financing for, and then the refundings are on the next page. But this list we just went through with the capital improvement plan a couple of weeks ago. But if you have any questions on that, certainly welcome to ask staff, or we can go through that. But that said, again, general capital improvements, and then there's a lot of TID 3 projects. So that's kind of what's on the slate for this borrowing. And again, anything with the capital projects fund, labeled there would be repaid by levy. We'll talk about the impact shortly. The other ones that are labeled TID 3 are going to be repaid by TID 3 revenues. Next page is looking at both of these, and where you see kind of the boxed column, that's kind of the aggregate of all the purposes of each issuance. And so you can see what the refunding needs or capital projects needs are then by purpose. So, we have the refund of your 2024 A note anticipation note. For example, when I said you only drew 50,000, this is what I mean. That's the 50,000 plus $3,000 of interest accrued. So that'll refund that one. And then if you look at in terms of the 2025 CIP, there's about 2.6 million in the tax exempt geo notes for TID 3, and then 722,000 for the capital projects fund. And then the refund of the bank notes, that's $96,000 for the tax exempt portion. And then if you look for the taxable portion, that's 533,000 for the 2024 D bank notes. And then the TID three portion on the taxable is 2.7 million. The current refunding of that NAN, again, similar interest expense, 53,858. So. That said, the rest of this, if you kind of go top to bottom, less other available revenues, what that basically means is, right, you levied already for a payment this year on your 2024 banknotes. We don't want to have you issue debt for something you've already levied for. So when you levy, you know, as part of your debt service levy for the 2024 banknotes, we're going to take that as cash on hand, right, to pay off those notes because you're paying it before they're due. And then the issuance expenses kind of breaks down the estimated issuance expenses for all of those third parties we discussed, so municipal advisor fees, bond counsel, disclosure counsel, rating fee is 0. Like we said, we're not going to get this rated. Maximum underwriters discount, essentially what that is the underwriters for holding the bonds will charge a fee, notes, will charge a fee for that period of time before they go off and sell it. This is pretty typical. And we estimate that at $12.50 per bond. And then the paying agent is again the person that helps you to make sure you make timely payments. And then you get your total to be financed. We did estimate some slight interest earnings there to slightly downsize the issue. Again, most of this is money out the door immediately. And then we have rounding. The rounding is because you have to sell these in $5,000 blocks. And that extra little rounding that you take down, typically we'll see communities use that for the first interest payment, you know, towards their first interest payment. So any questions on the sizing? Okay. The next page, next 2 pages are kind of how the payment structure is for each of those purposes. So I'm on table 3 and then table 4 is on the flip side. This is maybe more of an important table for staff as they're kind of allocating these between the funds. The more important table that I want to get to is kind of why we structured it this way. So if you would, you can advance to table 5. So looking at that, what we're looking at here is top to bottom chronologically from 2025 and down. And then left to right, the blue columns are your existing debt. So that's all the debt the debt payments the village has outstanding. The change from prior years, kind of the structure of your current debt service. And then equalized value TID out is just a way to kind of project valuations. The reason we don't do it on an assessed basis is right when you do have a revaluation that kind of causes fluctuations, but generally, one, those are hard to predict when it's going to happen because we'd be betting on the fair market value adjustments. But then 2, generally you see a benefit there because right, you're adding taxable value to the village at the time you reassess. So that said, we do it on an equalized value, TID out. What we do is we take a 5-year average of those changes in values and then we discount them 50% to kind of project out what future valuations will be. Build out a tax rate based off of the debt, you know, your annual payment, and then what that means for a $400,000 home. Again, we're taking the average fair market value of a home in the village at $400,000. So that's your existing debt. We take out the bank notes because we're refunding those. And then we add in the new debt in the orange columns here. So what you're looking at is kind of the impact of the new debt. So 2025A and 2025B, so both packets. Again, we just kind of wanted to make it simple and I didn't want to walk through 2 packets. So everything's on these tables. Those are your new, you know, added debt payments minus abatements. What an abatement means is we don't need to levy the general public for these because we have other sources of revenue like TID 3 in terms of paying off that. So just note, and then we took out, like I said, the refunded 2024 D payments as well, because we don't want to double count that. So TID 3 is obviously paying a significant portion of the debt service, about 7.1 million of the 8.7 million. So they're paying a pretty hefty portion. TID 3 can afford it. You kind of remember from our amendment and extension, This was the reason for doing it, is making sure that we use the benefit of the increment that's been created and complete projects that continue to promote economic development in the village, but also have general, improvements in the village as well. So 7.1 million that the TID 3 will pay for. So that said, if you have your eyes, I'm on the debt service levy in the middle of this table that says total net debt service levy, and then levy change from prior year. So when I said I wanted you to go to this table, is because we structured the debt to fill in with your existing debt and make sure that we have level debt service levy as much as possible, as well as decreasing debt service levy when we need it, because we have a bigger picture here than just what you're approving today, which you'll see, but I just kind of wanted to focus on what you're green lighting today. But that said, you'll kind of see your debt service levy for 2026 and what we project the interest rates to be is about level. It only goes down by $1,500. The goal there is, right, if it's level or going down, the tax rate's not going to increase for debt service. So we don't want to aim for a future tax rate because we'd be guessing on future valuations. I want the level debt service levy because that's what you control. As long as that's flat or going down, we can control taxes. So that said, you will see a big jump down then in 2027 where you see it says negative 129,293. That's for future issues to, again, keep some capacity that if we need to issue more debt, we have the bigger plan done as part of the financial management plan, we can filter in more debt as needed. So that said, generally flat or decreasing debt service levy. As you move your eyes even more right, we build out the tax rate for debt service, the annual taxes again on a sample home of $400,000, and then the change from prior years. So that said, we can fill in all of this debt service without increasing taxes, but at the same time, these are new debt payments regardless. So the final column is to say, you do have existing debt. Technically, this is now new debt, while the taxes will remain, relatively the same or slightly go down. If somebody were to ask, how much does this new debt cost me as a taxpayer? And I'm a sample taxpayer at $400,000, $656 over 12 years or $21 a year. On the next page, that's kind of the bigger plan. So this is get out the magnifying glass. I just want to, again, kind of point you to the kind of rightmost columns here, same column where it's levy change from prior year. One of the elements that we talked about in workshop 1 was you do have a lot of bigger legacy projects upcoming. So you will see that while we tried our best to kind of decrease that negative 129,000, there's some bigger projects in the future that will increase. But again, you're not green lighting those future projects. You're only green lighting the previous table. I just kind of wanted to keep you apprised on sale day. I'm going to do the same thing so that we always see this 30,000 foot view. And then as you go into execution, should those projects move forward, you'll kind of know that this plan has been continually updated. So you are not green lighting table 6 here tonight. I just wanted to provide it for, again, eyeballs on the bigger picture in terms of future projects as well. Again, none of that is in question for tonight, but just wanted to provide that for context. Next page is table 7. What that's looking at is that general obligation debt capacity. So currently, again, chronologically, top to bottom, the blue columns are your existing debt. State statute says you can only have 5% of your total equalized value outstanding in general obligation debt principal at any time. You are currently at 30% of that limit. You're going to be, increasing that slightly here to about 35% of that limit. And then as we mentioned, you do have an internal policy limit at about 3.25% of your EV. So that's where you kind of get to 54% of that limit with a residual capacity of $7 million. The next page, again, is kind of the 30,000 foot view, so I'm on table 8. That's with the other future borrowings. So this is an item, right, we're gonna have to continue to revise and consider. But as we mentioned during the workshop 1 for the financial management plan, some of those bigger projects in the future did take you over, kind of your goal limit of 3.25. That again is not part of tonight's, resolution at all. This is just, again, keeping your eyes on the bigger picture here. And I believe you do have an agenda item on the CIP, so you guys will be talking about that in general, but I want you to know in terms of the resolutions, that's not what you're greenlighting. You're just greenlighting the 2025 issues. This table is just provided for bigger picture context within the financial management plan. The next page is table 9. What that is looking at, how much we could potentially save on the 2024 D banknotes. So like I said, those were issued at 6 3/4, 6.78% to be exact. And we believe that refunding these, they're going to be kind of a combined refunding between the A and the B issue. But based off that blended rate, we believe you could save about $94,000 over the life of the current debt versus what we project the debt to be. If for some reason we see the interest rate market creep up, and again, right now our estimated rate that we have in here is current rate conditions plus a buffer. So if it does creep up, you'd still get to this point, but let's say it's worse, we can always pull that portion of the sale rate. If it doesn't make sense to save money, that would be something that I'm communicating with Ian and Gabe and saying, we really should pull that amount out of the sale. That said, I don't see that happening. All the talks are Fed rate cuts, things like that. So again, cross our fingers, of course, that there's no fun market events that happen, but we'll be keeping our eyes on the market every day to kind of provide that and hopefully see these savings as we projected here. But that's why we want to refund the banknotes, is saving $94,000 over, the remaining life of that is a financial positive. With that, that's the end of mine, but I did just cover 3 agenda items, so I apologize for the lengthy nature of it. So here for any questions.
It's very well put together. I was able to follow it. Appreciate it.
So the next steps, if you guys are good with it, is you guys need to approve the resolutions that are on the agenda.
I'll move we approve resolution 2025-19.
Second.
So we don't have to do anything with the letters that was on the first agenda item.
Letters are just, oh, well, I guess, yes, do the resolutions first and then approve the engagement letters.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Gary made a motion to approve resolution 2025-19, authorizing the borrow of not to exceed $3,595,000 of non-taxable geo promissory notes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Who had the second?
I did.
Roll call.
Sure. President Service,
Yes.
trustee Bateman,
Yes.
Ballgard, yes, Huckrow,
Yes.
Cosmer,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
passes on 7-0.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-20, authorizing the borrowing of not to exceed $3,380,000 taxable geo promissory note series 2025B.
Second.
Only gets this one.
We all did.
And roll call here.
Sure. President Service,
Yes.
trustees Bateman,
Yes.
Ballgard,
Yes.
Huckrow,
Yes.
Cosmer,
Yes.
Ward, yes, Ziegler,
Yes.
passes on 7-0.
Alright. Back to item A, right? Discuss and consider 2025 TID debt presentation, engagement letters.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-taxable engagement letter and the taxable engagement letter.
Second.
Gary, second by Shelley. Let's do voice vote for this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Capital improvement plan.
Right, so remember when Brian was talking about not the future stuff? Well, this is now the future stuff. So what my disclaimer in my speech in this one is you aren't formally approving anything tonight. What you're going to be doing tonight is giving me staff direction on what projects you're good with for 2026. You'll technically approve those in November when we do the resolutions and text and all that good stuff for the actual budget. But I like getting the capital budget done prior to operating. That way, because they're very two separate funding models and then project models. And so I don't like getting those intertwined. So I tried to get the capital done first and then operating done. So you really are in November, are really only going to approve the 2026 projects. However, we have the next 5 years and 10 years in parts of this projects laid out. As Brian mentioned, there are some heavy legacy hitting projects. Village Campus, Community Park, and Sugar River Park are really the main 3 big ones. There's still quite a few of hanging fruit out there. So all the separate committees reviewed the capital plan, made their recommendations to the Finance and Governance Committee. The Finance and Governance Committee heard a presentation from Ellers for the financial management plan for the first portion of it. That presentation can be found on our website under financial management plan. And then the Finance and Governance talked about priorities, moved some things around, and then made a recommendation at their last meeting to present it to you as is. As Brian mentioned, we are not going over the statutory levy limit. However, we are going over the village's recommended levy limit that the village set in policy. You guys can go over that if you choose to. It's not a statutory one, but it is you guys said decided you wanted to stay under that. So, be that as it may.
Well, a board previous to this.
The board previously, as a board, you made that decision.
Right.
The capital plan, 137 pages attached to the agenda. I didn't expect you to necessarily read every project. But do you guys have any major questions? The capital plan is laid out in a few different categories: community development projects, equipment, municipal facilities, fleet, forestry, library, multimodal parks, wastewater, and water. And then their funding mechanisms are on there. Each project page has what is the priority, who's the owner of it, when it's starting, when's it not, how's it funding, and then what does it cost for design and construction of it. And then a detail and a picture of what that project actually looks like. So the 2026 projects will be included in the 2026 operating budget as the budget document. So those pages will just go right over there. So yeah, I leave it open to you guys to provide direction on it. Again, you're not providing final full, this is the capital budget, we're good with every project in here, but you are giving me that the 2026 projects are pretty much, you've given your blessing that when it comes back in November, as long as nothing's changed, I pretty much know that you guys are good with it. However, if you have changes, make the changes.
I'll just make a motion for the heck with it. We approve the 2026 capital improvement projects as presented.
Second.
Gary, second by Tony. Discussion by the board. Have any questions on items out there? I was on planning commission, so I have reviewed this and
Finance.
yeah,
I watched the finance.
finance, yes, yeah.
I know you're on the planning commission too, but yeah, those are, yeah.
Finance, yeah, that's the one I was on.
You're on.
They run together sometimes.
Yeah, they do, so.
No,
Same week that gets, yeah.
I think it looks good.
Anyone? All right, got a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Well, before we go on, I would encourage, starting the 8th, we'll be starting to go over the cap or the operating budget, so I would encourage anybody to attend those so they can get the full scoop at that time, so.
Yeah.
And Brian should have already received the operating budget for the FMP, so we're on that process. Yeah, and then on the operating project, part of it, Ellers has been providing guidance to me on kind of redoing the budget on my end of structure and filling things out. So I have a table that lets me know where our levy limit is and how we hit it and what our capacity is and isn't. So that's made our budgeting process a lot easier that way. If somebody wants to change something, great, then I have to change something else to make it go back to a balanced budget. So it's making our process a lot easier. So good help for Ellers. So yes.
Item E, discuss, consider master park design concepts for Community Park and Sugar River Park.
All right, so these are the park designs. They are attached to the agenda. I'll explain here in front of Kevin. So you technically are not, what I need from you tonight is provide guidance to me on what you like and don't like about these plans. Because then I will then send it back to MSA to say, the board has approved this concept. You can now derive the master park planning and funding and the phasing and all of that because the board has given their okay. If you don't like it, make the changes now. Because I would hate to redo it and do it. I like that shelter there. That parking lot's too big, whatever. So, yes. So the first one we're gonna go through is the Sugar River Park. Sugar River Park, this is the current existing park. This is the new park that's gonna be brought over to the village when Park Meadows gets annexed into the village. That's part of their annexation agreement, that when they annex into the village, that 47 acre automatically goes into the village. What we're trying to do is pretty much create a parks complex or sports complex for the village. We're adding 2 new baseball diamonds and this new soccer field and 2 football fields, or 1 football field and 2 soccer fields. Making a professional field over here and then a smaller practice field here. This is a professional baseball diamond, lights, action, all that kind of stuff. 2 playgrounds, 1 on each side of the road, and then a kayak in and out. So you can kayak, put it in at the end of Community Park, or out at Sugar River Park, or go into Sugar River Park and go down to the Exeter park. Down there. Yes. Thoughts, hatred, love. What do you think about Sugar River Park?
I love Sugar River Park.
I would.
What does it feel like?
I like that we have parking. That's one of the biggest complaints of.
Community picnic, we get that plan every year.
And
Why
so,
do we need so many soccer fields?
because we have a lot of soccer teams. There's 5 fields in Blaser Park. So we're hoping to move everything to Sugar River Park.
The Blast will still do
They'll still-
soccer,
yeah.
but soccer fields can also be baseball or a football field as well. So, and what this is doing is this is the baseball diamond and it gives space for soccer fields if you want. So they won't be,
So how much land did we buy on the other side?
nothing will be all free to,
Was all on the other side of, it was all donated,
it'll be donated once it ends.
and all the ball diamonds are just for youth.
No,
No,
This is up to 390 feet, so that's adult fully, and then these are youth 12 through 15.
is the school planning their own athletic extravaganza or no?
They already have,
They talked about it,
they already have baseball and softball in school.
right, but as most schools like Glarus just did, they build
Not that we're aware of.
much bigger, better.
That would be a question for the school. We don't.
I just didn't know if anybody heard wind of anything like that. And we're still planning on having community fest at this
Yep.
park.
When this was designed, it was, parking was number one.
Yeah, parking's an issue.
Community picnic was number two.
Mhm.
So this is designed, we kept all of the existing buildings, the restrooms. And it's basically tailored in part, not completely, but in part to community picnic weekend. So there is additional parking, there's, easy access to everything that the community club would need for community picnic.
Mhm.
We just added a bunch of fun stuff
Just
for,
that there's more grass. Are we keeping that big part where they put the big tent on?
that'll be that
That's-
soccer field or the,
No, that's the parking lot. The tent goes on the parking lot right now.
oh yeah.
Right,
I mean, there's 184 stalls for parking.
because it is nice to have that easy walk on.
Yeah, and there's gonna be like walking paths and,
Right. It's just the community, I mean, the play centers, how big are those gonna be for the kids?
I think it says on there, doesn't it?
4,200 square feet for number.
Pretty good sized park.
15 is 2,100 square feet.
We need bigger play areas for kids. These little tiny things that are spread around in the village need to be improved. And how many kids are we planning on all these subdivisions coming in? What did we estimate?
Well, you can't even, there's no way to estimate that. We don't know who's buying these houses.
Right, I think somebody's got some kind of.
We think it will double in
Unrealistic
size in
numbers
about
out there.
10 years.
What's that?
We'll be double in size in about 10 years.
About 10 years.
Roughly 1,400 units, roughly.
These structures on the walking path between number 2 and number 3 fields.
What was that?
The structures, they look like between number 2 and number 3.
So between,
Be on your right hand side. Yeah, right there. What are those?
Stands,
Oh, those are the,
like risers.
okay,
Or Doug's
so bleachers or something like that.
batting cages, yeah, and there's a batting cage.
So is there seating for people to watch these games?
Yes, there'll be, all of these are stands, bleachers, here's bleachers, and then obviously you got your own chair. And
We may have to invest in some more bleachers.
I would think so.
So Blazer Park is the only place we have soccer fields right now, so.
there are some soccer fields at the existing community, at Sugar Park.
They're just not marked out. I don't think they play any soccer over there right now, so
Room,
they might practice. Yeah, there's room for park, or there's room for fields if we had to.
So we have one pedestrian crossing over Ramey Road on the north side there. But we're not factoring in anything for the village to be paying for with the development that's potentially gonna go into the north. So
not as part of this plan.
and then what's the process for changing the speed limits on Ramey Road? Is that's controlled
Once
by the
you-
state,
Becomes in the
right?
village. we
Once
can-
you annex it in, it'll be part of the village, it'll be a fully village road, so you can change the speed limit at that. We got stop signs.
That would be a huge enforcement area when that happens.
oh yeah.
That's gonna be different.
Yeah, we could solve our budget issues, so.
It's close to the sewer plant. Every once in a while, it, community, you can smell it. Is that gonna be an issue? Are we, if I could expand on the sewer plant, do we have, we all okay with all this? Okay.
This won't affect the sewer plant at all.
All this still smell.
And it's-
The smell.
I think she's going the other way with the sewer plant.
That's a you question.
I mean,
Your enjoyment of.
see what the study comes back next year. Yes, it will probably involve some expansion, but no, it will not be anything that needs to be worried about here. As for complaints about the smell sometimes, when y'all live here, I know what it is.
Oh, but you know how people are.
It's every.
Get those hockey pucks that you put in your,
Smell it, I can, but.
I told them to put out a bowl.
Place. I mean, you're using every little bit, we're really using a lot of just free grass. Your kids don't play soccer, and they don't play baseball, and they don't play football, that front is not.
Need plans, regarding the walking trail through the woods on the side. The library was talking about, the story walk, anything similar to that.
Probably could, you could
Here.
probably do some fitness workout stations or something like
That
that.
area actually goes a lot further to the east.
Right,
Do we have enough teams that are gonna use all these fields?
Yeah, youth sports have been very involved in this process. We've had 2 meetings with just youth sports alone to give their input. Then we had, 2 public hearings at the Parks Committee to be brought to you. So yeah, our youth boards have been very much involved in this process. And the part of the goal is as the village, before you had gotten here, is the village would start slowly doing more of the Parks and Rec programming and all that kind of stuff. And so this was in mind of that as well with those youth sports.
What are we gonna charge them to use the fields,
Right now, it's the same rental as we have for our parks,
which is?
$30. So what's our,
Well, I don't remember off the top of my head what the fee schedule is, but I can let you know what that is.
No, we can always revisit it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fee schedules have to be reapproved every year, so
It can change.
it can change, yeah.
but it's like $30 for a resident, like $50 for a
Those are the shelters, I think the fields are one of them. Yeah, the fields.
Fields,
I
based,
can't,
based on the season or
I
whatever.
can't look it up because my VPN wouldn't connect, so
It's on the website.
that's crazy.
so, will a road be put in that goes north and south there on the west-hand side and intersect with Church Street and Pearl Street? Or is that,
No,
That
it-
cul-de-sac.
that's the little cul-de-sac there. So it's already there.
Yeah. Cul-de-sac doesn't have a curve on the
this
ball.
they're talking here? But this,
Right here.
yeah,
Where it comes off of Church Street,
right,
there's a little cul-de-sac there. There's no curb or gutter.
right, I'm talking, will a road be put in here?
No.
Is there have been residents concerned about traffic, in this case would be Church Street. But then again, 56 stalls is,
Yeah.
No.
So we,
it's 54, you gotta go on the other side.
From this lot to this lot, you have to go this lot, come off.
no, you
No, you can drive.
Church Street, you can drive all the way over if you want it. Whoops.
Can you drive straight through
No.
from the big parking lot?
No,
You can't go from Church Street.
the bathroom building.
You have to go around.
So per day of field is, yeah, about 30 for a resident and 55 for a non-resident. Per season, it's $350 for any field. And a season we define as anything over a month. We're not picky past that specific.
So we move to community park? Or is there any final comments? How do we feel about sugar?
I love sugar.
That's hard, that's improve. We can prove.
Yes.
Community park. So community park has a pretty massive changeover. We had quite a few stalls down in the entrance of the park. We had a kayak launch down here to go to Sugar River Park. We had another
Here.
pier in community park.
What's that?
And we can.
Can you turn it around, Gabe, so she can see it?
I can, are we on community?
Up on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me just a second, folks.
So the drama that is revolved around community park has been removal of the baseball diamond or keep of the baseball diamond. So that is something that you guys need to make a final decision on. We add a destination playground, pickleball courts and a basketball court to community park. We add a large open air shelter. It's an amphitheater, but it's a large open air shelter. For the school district to start doing plays down, when we do events like running events, they can always do their award ceremonies there, music fests, stuff like that, hosting that more in community park, which is really the design of this. Yeah, this is,
Parking,
there are a lot of parking.
Tons of parking.
So, yes. Decision right now is Sugar River Park goes first and then Community Park. Community Park, there is a lot of shoreline stuff, which could be done out of that trust fund from the Big Stephen Fisher Trust. But yes,
you're gonna dig up the basketball courts and move them, I understand.
we'll replace them. We won't, it would be all.
But you're taking out the ones that you just put in, how old are those? Cause they haven't been in
Oh, maybe 8, 10 years, yeah.
Parking is definitely
I saw parking on there.
yeah.
Excuse me.
I love the community park. I hate it's so low. I hate when I went over to the Belleville Music Fest. I could feel the water sloshing against my ankles.
And that's, so with the redesign of community park, that'll all be
Are we?
done by the engineers. The engineers will grade it and hopefully eliminate that.
Because I want to see more traffic, but more traffic is gonna create.
Fact is, it's an island, so
I'll say that this will have to, where the parking lot is, to my knowledge, has to stay low because that's an older
floodplain.
built
Yes.
over from the
Yeah,
lake.
I
Yeah.
think
Right.
the bigger area where the Ball Diamond and Amphitheater, that's the problem area, especially when it rains.
No, I saw parking on there, but is the parking strictly for a one vehicle or is the parking made for a vehicle with a trailer?
You can park with a trailer in all those middle spots. You can take up both as per trailer.
It's not gonna stick out in the way then?
Well, you can drive through it, right?
Yeah,
there.
it'll be, yeah,
See how you can drive through, like you did in
Okay.
Penn there, you can drive through it.
yeah,
And
so
you're
like your
picking up-
trailer could be in one stall and your vehicle in the
Is that
other.
gonna be a problem though?
And I assume there'll have to be some ADA stalls put in.
Yeah.
Don't.
Oh, yeah.
show
they could
here,
have some
and
car
not
trailer
that
parking
detail.
down by
Yeah, detail.
Right.
There's nothing.
Restructure.
I mean, bottom line with community park is, it's an island. I don't care how much fill we put in, we're gonna have issues.
Exactly.
How do we feel about
Yeah, it's like.
the movement of the Ball Diamond tournament and then adding the amphitheater?
I think the Ball Diamond needs to go 100%.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
I think it should stay.
But, okay,
Going by.
here's my thought process.
Yeah.
On a night like tonight, nobody can play.
It's not like.
Well, that's true. If it was sunny, then they
Yeah,
could.
see, and that's the whole thing, what if? So the whole concept behind this design, the new design without the ball field, it's called community park.
Okay, but they've had a lot.
To bring the community together in the past.
In the
We don't
past.
even have a league anymore.
Pardon?
We don't have a league anymore. That's why we designed Sugar River Park to be our sports complex and community park to be the place to bring the community together. Cause, you know, when you, in reality, hometown can play down at Sugar River Park. I know everybody is very sentimental about the Ball Diamond.
Yep.
But,
What?
but, is it the ball diamond or the memories?
I think it's
I played, I played softball for a bazillion years, from the time I was in fourth grade till tenth grade. And then, cause then East High School didn't have girls softball. But it wasn't about the field we played on, it was about the sportsmanship. It was about being part of a team. It was about all the things that go with being on a team, the friendships. I'm still friends with 3/4 of the girls I played ball with in fourth grade.
Yeah.
It's not the ball field. The memories you make with that team.
Hey, Connie, you wanted to make a comment?
Yes, we already discussed this a few times. And it was decided that the ball diamond would stay as a pickup game. They were just kids down there the other day, playing down there. 5 of them playing, they were playing, softball. It's,
Connie, I played on a street.
I don't care where you play.
They wanna be.
This
I don't
is-
care where you played either.
Well, it's not got anything to do with where I played. This is the community park, and the community park is for everyone, including kids that wanna play ball, including the home talent. They probably won't even get on a diamond down there because it'll be rented for the season or whatever. And it was decided that it would be a smaller diamond. That's what this was all decided. And it
Maybe a
would be
big
a smaller
sandbox.
diamond for people to come and replant or family reunions. They can play kickball, they can play catch, they can run around the bases. They need a place to play. There's no reason that it has to be taken out. In fact, I think it should stay where it is, because you've already got the fence. You've got the money that those guys stuck in the pitching mound and the batter's box and your fence, and put another venue for music out in the grass.
What is
Well
the,
spoken, Connie.
what is the plan for Blaser Park? Do we have an idea, at least some kind of concept? I guess where I'm thinking is, I still think both these parks are being purpose-built in a way of, one is the sports complex and the other one is, the recreational area of, water sports, pickup games of various, basketball, pickleball, the cultural park is also its purpose. And a lot of that is, proximity to downtown and the other parks and the events that go on, complementing it. So I guess what I'm wondering is, can a baseball diamond move, if we need more diamonds, Blaser Park?
Or Greenville.
Or,
Greenville is,
Yeah.
Greenville has nothing.
yeah. it's
Can't
still
put a diamond in
Greenville.
there, it's not big enough
Put
for
a
that.
diamond in there, it's too small.
Yeah, but we can pick up games. What's that?
Where would the community softball games be played?
There is no
There
more.
are none.
There was no league.
There is no league.
Oh, for the festival.
To go to Sugar River Park.
Go to Sugar
But
River.
if they don't want to go to Sugar,
They don't, because I already.
Well,
No,
Talk to all
the reason
friends.
they don't go to community, the reason they don't go to Sugar River Park now is because they don't think the diamonds are that good over there. These will be brand new diamonds. There'd be no reason why they can't play over there, so.
They like their
but it's not central.
conclusion with their friends and their drinking and.
Well, they can do that in Sugar River Park.
already got it over there. Being in big.
I have a question.
You gotta keep the diamond, I don't know why. everyone's-
So-
Go ahead.
Number 1 shows boat launch and kayak launch. Your boat launch is way over on the west end. Why is your trailer parking gonna be way over on the east side? Shouldn't there be a couple of truck and trailer parking over on the west side?
So there's 2 number 1, so the parking can
On the
go
west
here,
side.
and then on the west side, they're gonna have to go just right down here.
Are those gonna be big enough for truck and trailer? They're gonna need almost pull-throughs.
You got a trailer, you're gonna end up coming all the way back down to the parking lot at number 10. regardless of where you drop off your boat. And,
Yeah, we put a
you
few
know,
angles.
we're not talking motorboats here, we're talking kayaks, so. For canoes,
Yeah, most people, you throw them on your car.
Yeah. So as of right now, they're all
You
the way
don't need a
down
trailer.
here. But if you just put them on the top of your car, the closest spot is either here or.
And again, this is just conceptual, those could change, I mean,
Yeah.
we're looking at the overall
Yes.
dynamic, or, you know, the general overview of the park. The specifics will have to be worked out as we get further into the process.
And I guess my thought is if you're taking a regular boat and you're gonna book river and you park, or you put it in over there at the boat launch, you aren't gonna wanna walk the whole length of the darn park,
There you go.
especially if you're a senior citizen or you have trouble walking.
How many people actually do that though?
Can you put
I
a
don't
regular
know if the lake's
boat
deep
in
enough
there?
to put a
Yeah,
boat in.
I
and
don't
hold
think
it.
so.
We need to dredge it.
well, the reality is you're not putting a boat in at number 1 on the west side by the berm. Because
We have, when we've been trying out the
Well,
different things, yeah. we
I
put
suppose
boats
you
in there.
might, if you're gonna go upriver.
Yeah, and there used to be a lot of boats that went up the river, especially if the duck hunters would do that.
We used to go up river and fish.
And yeah, well,
Yeah, but I thought there was
and fishing
a boat
especially.
launch on River Street. For that.
It's not really.
Yeah,
There is, that one's pretty scary.
yeah, going down, yeah.
Yeah, with all the
Isn't there
trees laying in
Well,
there.
that's in the lake though.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I can always have MSA buy a couple boat trailer parking and we've done some.
I would think they could put a couple over there by the one on the west side. You could just put two over there.
Well, that's what's.
Or they don't have to be pull throughs either, you can park.
Yeah.
A long way.
Right.
When you say the long way, you take
So-
2 spots there,
So how about this?
well, then you're gonna need more parking spaces.
How about we just leave the ball diamond where it is? And get rid of the open
Right away.
thing, the open shelter thing.
I would recommend very much against that. There's,
Wasn't your
You
safety?
mean
over
the
there?
number 6, the large shelter?
that's the amphitheater.
That's the
I
amphitheater.
would keep that personally,
Yeah.
for a lot of special events in the park.
Just move over the 4 trees.
Will they be competing with music at the Hop Garden at Johnny O's?
No, because it's serving different events. And then Hop Garden, we talked to them that if there's music there, that they don't have to always.
They don't always have to get.
And that's also why it's positioned where it is, so
Yeah.
the sound is going, you know,
Towards the
not,
lake.
not competing.
Going to my house.
Sorry for the people.
I guess it's
It's not like we're not gonna hire like,
Madison County.
Yeah, talk to, they've
Stand it.
seen the plans.
But it's two different things, you
Yes.
gotta remember.
And like I said, the school's gonna do plays out of here. So this will be a.
I think a sandlot is, it's just gonna be a great big sandbox. Is all it's gonna
This
be,
is.
yes. It's just gonna be a great big sandbox. It's not gonna be used for what it's intended for.
A lot of kids play ball over there.
But they can still play in the grass. We
Kids in the
played, we
summer.
played everywhere. And if you wanna play, you're gonna play.
Somebody won't take over the men's baseball team again, and then
But-
do they have to fight for
So-
diamond down at the other park?
Speaking as from the clerk's office who does all the, like,
Reservation.
reservations for all the ball fields. There's no issue with reserving or space, and if we're gonna add more fields at Sugar River, there'll be even less issue with competing teams trying to compete for the fields. Most of the teams know each other anyway. They're really great about working together and making sure they're not overlapping, even when the JV team plays on our fields. They, the home talent gets out of the way and they work together. So I would be very not concerned about, especially once all that complex is in on Sugar River, about them all wanting to play down there a brand new,
It's
nicely.
no different than it is now.
Yeah.
They all have to work together now,
Yeah.
and you guys take care of
And
that.
we're not gonna have any issues
Yeah.
with reservations or competing
Right.
or any of that. And they're not on the field all the time either. So there are plenty of off times throughout the year. In fact, I don't think anybody's playing right now, so,
I guess,
But that's so much.
I guess, part of my question or concern about the ball diamond with the amphitheater is what kind of impact for seating does that have? You know, people are gonna be setting up on the diamond possibly to listen to a show or, so it's probably not a big deal. I assume looks like it's gonna be mostly level, is the plan, so no, you know, tiered natural seating or anything like that.
Gonna be lights down there?
There will be lights throughout the drive and the playgrounds.
But there won't be lights at the ball diamond like there are now.
You're
No.
you're gonna take the lights out of the ball then?
Yeah, the ball diamond's changing.
Well, maybe not.
No, it's definitely changing.
Well, and it's, and I'm gonna wear my community club president hat now. We spend $2,500 a year to buy portable lights for Sugar River Park. If we're gonna put an amphitheater or whatever we're gonna call it in there, we wanna make it so people can use it at night and not have to rent lights every time they come in and use that facility if they wanna do something at night. So we need to put lights in that park.
Yes.
Exactly. Or leave the ones there that are there.
Well, maybe, and that could be, they might be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just not crazy about having a big old sandbox in the middle of.
Well, but it happens now. I mean, you know, if somebody who grew up in this town, you play, you know, the visiting team for football games always had the bleachers were in the baseball thing. You live with it, you know, it happens all over, so.
My kids play baseball and football,
Well, yeah,
so I know, but
so, I mean, so now you know, the diamond just moves to the other side and you're gonna have to put bleachers on the diamond. It's not gonna be a regularly used scheduled diamond. It's gonna be a flat piece of baseball diamond, no mound, you know, we're not gonna spend the money and put them on for fun things. So it's not like the
It's for your family.
diamond the way it is currently where it's used for a recreational league type thing, you know, so.
It's for fun.
Yeah. And it doesn't, I don't know if this is drawn to scale, but I don't think we need, 90-foot base paths that are in the diamond or that are in the sand, so we could certainly, even if we put just a smaller sand infield in, we could do that. Cause again, there's not gonna be, men's softball league's not gonna play over there, home talent's not gonna play over there because it's not gonna be a regulation. It's not gonna have a mound, is the main thing for baseball and softball.
Are they gonna have lights over at the other park?
Sugar
River. Oh, yeah.
It's one of the oldest ball diamonds around.
It'll be for fun. And maybe,
Footbill, I think it's Footbill. It's the first one that ever had lights.
What did you say, Connie?
Footbill, I think, has one of the first ones that had lights and again, big sign like their park all the time.
So shifting gears a little bit to, number 9, which is the native plantings. There's probably a good chance that can be paid for with bequeathment money. What I'm more concerned about, is the intention to have these native plantings be the types that, grow fairly tall, probably to discourage the geese from congregating around the park.
I hope so.
Because, that was, part of a discussion in one of the park's meetings at one time. And I know from when I've ridden my bike through Community Park that you can't play basketball on the basketball court or pickleball without, everything being covered in crap.
And if
So-
we're gonna remodel these and do this, you need to take care of that problem.
So, I mean, we'll get residents that are probably thinking native plantings that are 3 foot, 4 foot tall, detract from the park. So, and, we're gonna ask,
there are pellets you can get to put down all the way around and the geese will not come up on sticks because we did that at Dad's. And they'd hit everybody else's yard, but they would not come up on Dad's.
So this year, our normal guy who takes care of the geese, health deteriorated and did pass away, so we didn't have our normal Oiling.
Blah, 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 blah.
So that is for the part of this year. The guy who normally does it did pass away, so we weren't able to get somebody who could do the permanent. But yes, yes, we know that is a concern.
Oh, I didn't. Just don't want to be no.
So repeat that last statement again. You said Russ died?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear that. Okay. But we're not gonna oil the eggs, are we?
Yeah.
Well, but
Every other-
yeah, good.
Don't
I don't want to, and I know there's several people in the village that does not want to oil the eggs.
But that's not part of this discussion.
It is-
I know, but
So,
Well, an ongoing expense for this park will be, nuisance animal control of the geese.
very much so.
And whether it's pellets or whatever, or, was Public Works supposed to go out there with or the fire department with a hose twice a week or something and hose off the courts?
Geese
I mean,
been here
there's
for.
something to plan around.
Yes.
and it's gonna be
They're
more
flying
than
ropes.
once a week, I would.
Well, I'm just, whatever.
So do we take those courts out of them too?
Then someone else.
And some, I mean,
Can't put fences because it's flooded.
oh, yeah.
That's a given.
Dogs, they could.
Because
Pickleball. You got enough goose hunters in the village, let them have at them for a day or so.
There's no geese.
I give up.
We will yeah, it's gonna always be an ongoing.
But it's gonna be.
It is.
Gonna have
All
complaints.
those young stuff's on.
Yeah, but
So,
what frustrates me is
You watch.
my kids played football 40 years ago or not.
And they got this.
You're not there.
You'll say, damn, you ain't.
I'm just gonna, sorry, this has nothing to do with anything, but, for the sake of the video, if we could try to avoid having overlapping conversations and people talking, it's gonna be a lot easier for people watching this later to hear this. And I'm not trying to discourage people comment. I'm just trying to keep the
so
video clear. Sorry.
what do you think?
Let's table this, send it back to Parks and Rec to go over the concerns that were brought up tonight and come up with a different plan.
But we did that already.
So are you really gonna change it though, much? Cause, like MSA can always go through and we can talk about loose stuff, but like, we can send it back to them.
Yeah, and again, those are, I mean, and I understand Mike's question, and it's a valid question, but this is just the conceptual plan of this park. The specifics between the bequeathment money and, what we decided to do there, or the goose abatement is a whole separate conversation at the Parks Committee. I think it's got really nothing to do with this conceptual plan. I don't know. I don't think it does any good to table this and take it and send it back to the committee, because number one, we're several years down the road before anything's gonna happen here. So we have the time to figure out, from oiling the eggs to the pellets that Deb brought. I've never heard that before, so that's a new thing. So, to all the other options, we can't fence the park because, so there's gotta be, and I'm sure there are goose abatement experts that can, lend us a hand as to what all our options are. But, I think as for this conceptual plan of the park, yeah, dogs, like I said, we've tried the speaker system over there, and the kids cut the wires, and, so we've tried a little bit of everything.
So what direction are we, do you want to just,
Feature wise, the one thing that I've always wanted to see, and I know it's probably a DNR issue more than anything, is, a fish ladder or some sort of, channel bypass that you could float down around the dam in your kayak. I know it would have to be designed in some way that maybe the gates get closed and it goes around the north side of the dam, and how it maintains water level.
I think we discussed that at Parks and Rec, and there was a reason that we didn't.
Removing the dam is gonna be hard for the
I'm
DNR.
not looking to have it removed, but
The DNR won't let us do it, it's just gonna be a very long.
We don't wanna remove the dam. Then we lose our lake.
Like,
Oh,
you
what's
can
that?
have it where, the person in the boat, people.
yeah.
But I think that we.
Well, I
should
think more of
there, and you can still
more
put
of
a
a
fish
slide
pipe, and you can also put in
How about a portage? Where you-
a bypass.
Yeah,
Well, that too.
yeah, portage is important. I mean, cause we did discuss the fish ladder in the
Yes, we did.
lake committee, the ad hoc committee. It's way down on the list, priorities and in the, surveys, but yeah, I mean, anybody who's ever done any canoeing or whatever, you know, wherever there's portages, so yeah, maybe that would be the route to go,
Well,
would be
at
some,
minimum, you start with a portage, I think.
Yeah.
Because the first time I ever went down, I ended up,
over
I'm
the
like,
dam.
I was just about, because I'm looking for the sign and the
Yeah.
sign says, you know,
Damn, and you said, damn.
says, you know,
Dam ahead, and there it
your
is.
takeout is there. And next thing I know, I'm walking through 2 feet of muck because I'm either gonna go over the dam
Yeah,
Yeah,
or not.
Yeah.
So if some sort of portage takeout closer to the dam that you could walk around with the,
on the north side would be a good thing, on the
Yeah.
north side where the, yeah.
Right.
You guys are already 15 million in, by best estimate, these two parks. Don't settle for anything at this point. So if there's something you want add. If there's something that doesn't look right, fix it. You know, we shouldn't be doing things like having like the seating and the baseball diamond or whatever. Spend $15 million on 2 parks. They had to do what they want with 2 parks. Don't settle. We end up having to cut it later. That's one thing. But we shouldn't be settling now.
What about the 2 little parts? Did that include in the 15 million?
No,
15 million for these 2 parts?
yeah, the number that's been out there all along.
Oh, it's like 4 parts.
I'm just sitting now, maybe I don't.
Music pavilion, is still some grass, right? Grass is gonna be all around that. I mean,
As of sitting right now, I think.
all grass.
Yeah, there'll be some type of edging and cement style and all that. Landscape.
But as for the watchers will all be grass.
Right.
So the only restrooms are way down on the west end of the park.
that's, if I recall, that's a DNR issue as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Can't put a brick building up and, cause it's in the, comes over the flow there, over the dam or the lake side. That's where it floods, it's not through there, so.
So the old restrooms, are those in the warming house, are those buildings staying or going?
The old restrooms are gone, long gone.
They've already been. But the
Warming house.
Warming
warming
house,
house is still there. Is that gonna go too?
No, that's staying.
That's.
so that's the aerator pump is in there. And we talked about, we suggested a bathroom way out in the, but that was too far, so that's why porta potties will have to stay in the, you know, kind of where they are now, where the old bathroom was.
they have in the Sugar River Park, was there, I forgot until right now. Do they have an area set aside for the chicken barbecue where they will roast the chickens and stuff, was there?
No,
Well,
that's a,
They don't.
The thing
no,
that-
but the community club has got a proposal for that, that'll be coming at some point down the road, so.
Okay, but they have still, yeah, because they need that.
Dave, going back to community park, where are we at with First Next, in the discussion of the fishing pier? Because I see you've got a fishing pier
This one, number 8 is theirs.
that is theirs.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we thought about that too and added that in. We're not sure when it's gonna fit in, but that's the location that they chose.
Yeah, I knew that. I just was asking where we were at and if that was considered in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will then move forward to drafting the final master plan and be presented to the Parks Committee and the village board.
Yeah.
Probably should make a motion. Yeah, probably safe.
What is this, the refractive rocks?
You want a motion or no?
Right, do it. Be safe.
I'll move we move forward with the, park master plans for Community Park and Sugar River Park.
Second.
Does that mean, Gary, as is or with recommendations that we just said?
What did we recommend that was different?
I mean, there's been
Kevin,
questions.
Kevin took some notes on just general comments, so we can look at putting in like the parking closer to the river side for the
Both.
kayak and boats.
You could
and
just
stuff
put a
like that.
couple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll look at that, and then, yeah, Kevin took some notes on lights and stuff like that.
Okay.
Any other discussion by the board?
It's
One way.
people calling.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Me. That's the truth.
This is 5-2. Next item on the agenda, discuss, consider village policy regarding social media.
Yeah, so this policy came from the Finance and Governance Committee. A lot of social, communities have a social media policy, kind of says, how do we do things? Who has access? What do they do? And what kind of, just how we manage, social media as staff in the village and village accounts and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a very standard policy that most municipalities have.
So this pertains to employees.
Yep.
Plus appointed or elected officials like us.
It can, right now, that's what the municipality that drafted it originally had, that if an employee is, or if a trustee is using the village Facebook account, you have to follow the same rules as a staff. The policy does not govern any of the personnel of the trustees' social media accounts, because that's not legal, we can't do that. But if you're using a village social media account, you hop onto the village's Facebook page and post something, then you have to follow the guidelines of this policy. And then if you are posting something, you just have to make it clear that this is your opinion, not the village. You're speaking on behalf of you, not on behalf of the village board. As a staff member. If the staff member posts something, it has to be on their behalf, not on the village's.
I move that we adopt the social media policy.
Second.
Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Hey, of course, for boards, commissions, committees. Library board.
Yes. Our traffic went up 9% from 2024 in the library. Music in the park averaged 285 people in attendance, an increase of 24% from 2024. And the summer library program, the youth participation increased by 10%. And we gave away 350 books and 700 coupons to area businesses, to adults and kids. Good job. Total participation, adults 98, and youth from 0 to 18, 465. Oh, good. And now I want to say something about the seniors. Don't forget about the broad bash tomorrow night.
Recreation, forestry,
We pretty much covered everything tonight.
EDC and tourism.
So we're working on a business development loan pool. And then commercial kid 3 stuff.
Arts and culture.
Oh, the darned old mural. So I think we said this last time that the wall that the mural is was going to go on is not structurally sound for the artist to put the mural on. So we've been exploring different buildings within the village. We've had a few came up with a few options, but nothing solid yet.
Still pending approval by the donors. And then I gotta go back to the artist, and I'm hoping to get all that done so we can bring something to the board by next meeting. I'm a little busy.
Finance and governance.
The CIP and the social media policy, we do the couple of job descriptions for possible inclusion in the budget, the new budget. And again, I'll remind everybody, starting in September, we will be meeting second and fourth Monday nights for September and October to do operating budget. So again, I would encourage everybody to attend those meetings.
And then planning commission, so we talked about drafting some sort of ordinance in the future here shortly for the use of storage containers on properties. Since there seem to be more and more of those popping up, which would be a conditional use permit. So trying to take care of that. Let's see what else. Talked about zoning for a lot over on the near west side of to allow duplex with 0 lot line there. And reviewed the a site plan for the yards and many of its variances or anything they needed. They're not really variances, just how it fits in with downtown planning standards. So, and with luck, they hope to build the restroom this fall yet for outside. So that's pretty much it for planning. Police.
Truck should be coming in soon, right, Chris?
I have no idea. I haven't received any updates on it.
Okay, so we got that. We sent the ordinances back to finance, and we're going to be bringing forward a police department structure.
Any news and announcements, upcoming events or future agenda items?
Yeah, on behalf of the community club, I want to thank the Public Works Department and Police Department for all their work over during the picnic weekend. We got some weather that we haven't experienced in a while, and parks look great. Not much we could do Sunday morning with all the rain, so it's Mother Nature at her best. So, but otherwise, I want to thank them especially for all the work they did.
I'll throw out a quick announcement. The village has Eye on Water. Now, we're still putting together like educational outreach materials to explain how to do things. But you can now download the Eye on Water app on your phone, put in your information, and you can view your water usage. If you have a Galaxy, it's hourly. If you have the cellular system, it's like quarter hour. It's like 15 minutes updates. And you can have alerts to show abnormal water use, show if you likely have a leak. You'll be able to do it all on your phone. Like I said, we don't have the educational outreach material yet, but I figured why not tell y'all? We do have it. It is up and running.
So something I'm guessing will go on the utility bills when they go out the end of the month,
Will
right?
be utility bills, will be on the internet.
Yeah, website.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's, I think, some information on the village hall windows now, so if you're coming to vote tomorrow, you can take a look at that. If you want to come see mine, I've got mine working and it's very cool. My usage is down 19%.
Bad girl.
One of my kids isn't showering.
So one will be going to college, so that'll
I'm
help.
already at college, so that'll help. She's not I-E-Y-E, like your eye.
Yeah.
Eye on water.
Eye on.
Okay, I got it here.
And you just need when you put your account number in it, add the dashes. Cause you'll need your water account off your bill and you wanna make sure you add the dashes in it.
Okay.
Next village board meeting is Tuesday, the 2nd. Due to Labor Day.
Yep. Oh, September, so we're meeting every Monday.
Nice.
So, we're not doing first and third, we're doing second and fourth.
It's for finance.
First and third for board, second and fourth for finance. So if you're on finance and board, then you're every
I'm meeting
Monday.
every Monday.
Yeah.
What about Public Works?
Public Works will meet, I have you on the there's 5 Mondays.
Yeah, but the
in
29th is
September.
the fire association meeting, so
Oh,
we're gonna.
well, okay, then we'll
yeah,
TBD
pick-
it.
Yeah, we'll pick dates at the meeting next week, so. Okay. Cause we'll have to pick them for September, October, both.
And meet those dates for the other things.
Yeah.
So, if we're good, I'm gonna go into closed session.
It's in.
Get out of here. Before midnight, yeah, so what time is it? It is 8:10. So the Village of Belleville Village Board will enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 subsection 1 subsection E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The village board may reconvene in open session and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session. And we are going to be discussing establishing negotiating position regarding the potential tax incremental financing incentive for the 109 South Park Street development. And we're going to discuss, consider a negotiation position regarding Bell West Lot 24. And the Village of Belleville Village Board will enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85. 1C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The village board may reconvene into open session and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session. We will be discussing and consider evaluation data for police department personnel and discuss and consider the chief of police 6-month evaluation.
I make a motion to enter the closed session.
Second.
Tony, seconded by Debbie.
Keep your gun out and shoot it there, Chris.
Okay,
You said something like this.
guys, I had a roll call. President Service,
Yes.
Trustee Baden,
Yes.
Bongard, yes, Eichelkraut,
Yes.
Casmar, Ward, yes, Ziegler.
Yes,
Right, we passed. We are in closed session at 6:12.
8:12.
8:12, 6:12.